Welcome back, friends. This is Lauren, and this is In the Making with the Soap Witch. So in this one, I am making my fall scented pumpkin apple butter soap. I really think that I should call it my Murphy's Law soap because absolutely nothing went right, but I still got it done. So there I was just adding my lye, measuring that out on the scale there. And previously, when I was doing my little intro, I was pouring my aloe vera juice. And now I'm just going to combine the two, as I always do, because that's what you do. You pour the lye into the liquid, always, never the other way around. So at that point, or at some point, I realized I forgot my sodium lactate and my sugar. That's what I'm adding here. And if you don't know, the sodium lactate and the sugar, sodium lactate basically being liquid salt, helps the soap to be more fluid, stay fluid, but it also helps to make a more bubbly, longer lasting bar. So things are already going wrong. You just can't see it. You just don't know it. But usually I like to combine these two at around 200 degrees, no less than 180. It was definitely less than 180. Also, I was doing a different technique than my usual, or attempting to. I have successfully done in some other batches, I just have not posted them on YouTube yet, where I stick blend until it's very thick, so we're going past trace even, and then you sort of force it to a volcano, kind of several times. I'm really simplifying this, oversimplifying it. It will definitely be in future videos because I've tried it more successfully with other batches of soap. However, when I've done really tiny batches in this really large pot before, what I used to do was put saran wrap on the top of the pot, just under the lid. I have forgot that because it's been a long time since I've made such a small batch of soap. So this is me trying to stick blend it to get it to volcano again and force it to cook faster. And actually I think this sort of ended up being to my detriment because it meant that I left the top off of it for much longer than usual, which also meant that I lost more moisture than I usually use. Because this is a smaller batch in a large pot. So I was just taking some of the soap batter out of the stick blender because it had kind of gotten thick. You see those like kind of white bubbles that are popping up? That is the soap sort of kind of attempting to volcano. I never did get a good volcano. I really thought I was going to be able to show a nice one off too, because it's such a small batch in a big pot. It had more space to rise, but no, none of that. This is my Murphy's Law soap. Did I already say that? That's why I'm calling it, because all of the things decided that they were going to go wrong. So this is the point where I get to in any soap where I'm tired of doing all of the stuff. I was really tired of this one. So I've just decided to stir it to completion with my whisk. I guess that means I'm whisking it to completion, whatever. It's because the stick blend method just was not working. Okay, thanks for nothing. Anyway, so I'm stirring it up and I'm realizing that even though it's not that full-on horrid paste that the original hot process soap turns into, it is not fluid enough at all. So here I am adding in my full fat Greek yogurt. You do not have to use full fat or Greek, but you want plain for sure. So I'm stirring that in. It is looking a little looser, but it's not nothing like what I'm used to. You've seen my other batches of soap. If you haven't, go take a little peek. Okay, it is fluid. And so here I'm measuring out my fragrance, and now I am measuring out my colorants. There was orange. There was Sexy Stranger on a Train, which is brown. This one is Bright Yellow Raincoat, which is yellow. I don't know why I showed me measuring out orange again. Oh, the first one wasn't orange. It was, this is red. That's red. That's to spicy tomato is what they call that. Okay. I confused myself, y'all. So anyway, I stirred them all in and to the oil that I had reserved from the recipe, and now I'm just dumping my fragrance in and giving that a stir. And I realized that it's looking more fluid, but what I'm telling you is that it still ain't fluid enough. Okay. But it wasn't ruined, though I did spend a little time humming and hawing over whether or not it was ruined. So this is just me separating my soap batter. Well, it's not batter anymore, it's cooked. My soap into the different containers so I can add my colorants. As you know, this is what I usually do. And so in goes the spicy tomato. And I'm just going to mix that in. When I mix these in, I also added a smidge more aloe vera juice just to loosen it up more so it would be the right fluidity that I'm used to, okay, because your girl was struggling. And you can see from that tiny mess, a huge mess over there on the left, that I had spilled some of my orange mica. It was a big mess, and I was really contemplating the moment of my life there, but I still proceeded on, as you can see, with making this soap that I thought may just be ruined. I'm like, is it ruined? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Okay, so here's my mold, and I am just going to, in my OCD manner, move my colors over to the side like I like, and then start pouring in. I like to do contrasting colors next to each other. Maybe we've discussed that. I know I have. And so I'm just pouring them in and layering them in a way that just kind of makes sense to me, I guess. And then once I get them all in and layered nicely, this was so easy because I only had one mold instead of three. I go in and just give it a little bang on the countertop, and ideally that's just to make sure there's no like spaces or holes or whatever I'm trying to say. It'll be all just one fluid soap. So I was starting to incorrectly add my fairy dust, but it's not time yet. It's time for the hanger swirl. And so I just went in, just slid it all the way down, and then just did, you know, some figure eights there, and then some swirls around the whole thing. I'll look the technique up later after I was just kind of making soap. And how do people really do this hanger swirl? With a tool, but I don't have a tool. So anyway, I'm sprinkling on the rest of the fairy dust all across the top there, and then I just take my metal chopstick and swirl the top. And I like doing this method because I feel like if I swirl after I sprinkle the fairy dust, then the fairy dust stays better. So this is the final result. I put it in the freezer for, I think I only did like 4 hours this time, just trying to see if less time worked. And I didn't demold it while it was freezing cold, though I probably should have. I waited till it thawed out, so then I had to come back hours later. This is the hours later, and really do it because I felt like it was too soft and sticky to get out initially, and that's why it was so loose, because I had already checked it earlier. Anywho, so that's me dumping it out, being beyond extra careful and babying it to death because I still felt like it was kind of soft, and if you're too rough with it, you'll leave all kind of indentations in the soap batch. The log, yeah, that's what it's called. So here's me cutting the first piece and still babying it to death because I don't want to mess it up after all of this effort and Murphy's lawing it to death. So the first cut looked really beautiful, and between each cut I go ahead and wipe the wire, and then I scoot the whole bar over and press it against the cutter firmly just to make sure I'm getting a nice even cut. And then down again we go for the second cut. I moved the whole loaf over, and then I pull up the one that I've cut just to make sure that, I don't know, I just make sure that the cut comes out nicely. Anyway, so these are the rest of the bars in the cut. I absolutely love how every single one turned out. This turned out to be a beautiful batch despite all the difficulties. So that's all I've got. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time.